So I'm here with missionary slash youth pastor Kyle Ewald. So tell us, Kyle, how did you become a missionary in the first place?
I went to Guatemala for the first time when I was 19 and met a lady who she's blind, and she had walked to church 3 hours each way behind her husband. And so that impacted me in a way to where I knew that I had to come back and do something about that.
And describe some of the work you've done there.
We've now been able to build 6 churches up in the mountains. We have a life center as well to where we feed children out of every single week. And so we also speak in schools and speak in churches.
And what has been the most rewarding part of that work?
Being able to take Americans, both young and older, to Guatemala to do work, seeing how much that trip changes them, and then also seeing how it's also changing the people in Guatemala.
So tell us about your testimony and how it has affected your life today.
So both of my parents died when I was, by the time I was 13 years old, and so I have, since then, I've met over 50 people where when they were 13 years old, they've either lost their mom or dad as well, and so I've been able to really be able to speak to them and really understand where they're at.
Your parents in your life, who has been the most influential person in your life?
Yeah, his name is Phil, and he took care of me whenever I was when I was young, ever since my parents died. So he was my youth pastor, but now he's the main pastor of the church that I'm now the youth pastor of. So,
what motivates you to continue the mission?
When I was younger, there would be nights where we would not be able to eat because we didn't have enough money, and so for me, I've been able to directly relate to students and kids in Guatemala who go through the same thing, and so that's really what keeps me going and where I can't ever stop taking care of them.
You were telling me about how you proposed to your wife in Guatemala. Describe that moment to us.
I was very nervous, I was very excited, and I thought how amazing it was that I was able to do this in a place where I get to serve all the time, so I was really excited.
So how has your occupation affected your personal life?
Being a pastor is not like a lot of other careers where you can go to your job and then just kind of turn that off and go home. But when you're pastoring people, you really, a lot of times you take a lot of that home with you, and you lose sleep over it. And I mean, it really becomes, because it's not a job, it's a relationship. And so having deep relationships like that sometimes is sometimes difficult to handle if you don't really know how to handle the situations.
And what are your hopes and visions going forward with this ministry?
To do more, of course. We want to build more churches. We want to be able to reach more people and really share the hope of Jesus to them.
Is there anything else you would like to mention about your ministry?
Yeah, that we're all about Jesus, and so anyone who would ever watch this video or anyone that I'm ever around, that they would be able to come to the Lord and just really feel what He has to offer.